Hello, my name's Paul. I'm from Edinburgh in Scotland and I'm 46 years old. During lockdown, I did an overly ambitious project in my garden and I was floored for 3 weeks. It really was the most excruciating experience. I couldn't walk, could barely move. And of course, during lockdown, it was very difficult to get help. Eventually, I had an MRI at the end of 2020 and I wasn't shown the results of that. And I struggled on and my sort of great fitness shelved off. So initially I couldn't row, then I couldn't run. Eventually I couldn't swim. Things got worse and worse. And then during my work one day, I felt myself sink just whilst I was twisting. And I had what I now know was a sequestration event where my disc shot out my back and slightly travelled up my spine. It was the most excruciating thing I've ever experienced and it lasted 3 days. I was horrified to see that my L4-5 was almost non-existent and that my L5-S1 was really squirting out. Now, if you don't know anything about these expressions, it's worth reading up about it and knowing what your condition means. I immediately started Googling. In the UK, ADR, artificial disc replacement, isn't a thing that's available to us. On the cervical layer, sometimes it can be done on the NHS, but lumbar, absolutely not. This wasn't something I knew about. And so I started researching and I read about Dr. Schmitz and I went on face group ADR groups, which was a really big support because there you hear from people who've had experiences themselves. And the surgeon I could find no bad reviews of was Dr. Schmitz. And so I had a Zoom with Dr. Schmitz and the light behind the eyes and the complete candour with which he talked about potential side effects swayed me immediately. I asked him when he could see me and he said I should come immediately because I had loss of sensation down the left leg, which was quite severe. And he, as I knew at the time, knew that the quicker I came, the quicker I would get that back. So plans were made and I booked my flight and I carried on doing some research, but everything I read led me to believe this was the right decision. I came out to see Dr. Schmitz with the plan that the surgery would take place the next day. And that evening, before we had the surgery, I once again expressed my concern to Dr. Schmitz that my L5-S1 was really bulging, and I asked him, please, could he operate on it as well? Because I was fearful that I would be here in 5 years' time. So he agreed, and the next morning I had both levels done. And I remember feeling that I had sensation back in my leg almost immediately. I had almost no back pain. I felt as though I was stretching, but I fully anticipated that I would feel as though I was stretching because I was having 2 levels done. Yesterday I left the clinic. I walked for 4 minutes down to the supermarket and bought myself some snacks. And I plan to go home on Thursday, which is 2 days' time. So I'll have been here for 7 days. I think maybe 10 days is better for 2 levels, but I feel great. And I've booked special assistance at the airport. And from Germany to the UK is obviously only an hour-and-a-half flight. So Dr. Schmidt told me that the surgery went as perfectly as it could. He said that my discs were replaced very easily. The prosthesis have been placed perfectly. He says there's a tiny bit of one surface where the vertebrae will grow so long as I'm patient and I don't do too much in the first 3 months. He's told me that I will have 0 restrictions, which has made me very, very emotional. I haven't been able to lift my son since February this year. He's 2 years old and he doesn't understand why he can't get up on daddy. And so I'm looking forward to February, March. He'll be on my knee. And my young family, I'm hopeful that my wife might have another child.